Well, you guys know how I feel about Olight. They're generally not my favorite. But the company asked if they could send me a couple lights to review, and I thought they looked pretty interesting. After using them for a bit, I'm really quite impressed. They're well designed with excellent performance. If you've bought into their ecosystem, these are going to be great options for EDC and general use with some clever and unique features. So this is a new version of the Olight Arkfeld, which is a pretty popular light right now. This one is the same design as the first, being a slim, dual-channel light with an integrated battery and a nice switching mechanism, but instead of a laser pointer, it features a 365nm UV light on the second channel. This one is also equipped with a neutral white emitter, which is a bit greenish, but is definitely an improvement over the cold emitter, and I'm really happy to see this as an option. I've already reviewed the Arkfeld elsewhere, and my thoughts remain the same. It's a great light if you want this specific form factor and rather nice feature set, but the integrated battery is a huge issue that hampers long-term viability of this product. I simply do not recommend larger lights with built-in batteries, but many people really won't care, and as a result of that design, the Arkfeld manages to be super slim and carryable, which is a worthy trade-off for many. While I do have an issue with that, what impresses me most about this light is the sustained output. Despite its diminutive size and single emitter, it manages to sustain a full 300 lumens on turbo for 2 solid hours while barely warming up in the hand. That is really good. The light offers a floody beam and is nice as a general use EDC for tasks in smaller spaces and at closer range, which is how I imagine it will be used considering its form factor. The UV version of the light only offers a single output mode at 580 milliwatts. I don't have much use for ultraviolet lights, just like I have little use for a laser pointer, so I can't really comment much on it, but hey, it's pretty cool, and it's great to have options like this. The UI of the light is the same as other Olight offerings, but the selector ring is rather unique and well implemented. It does make switching between the two channels really easy and quite fun. Now, the light that really got me excited was the new Baton 3 Pro Max. And let me first disclaim that I hate the name of this light. Anyone who says that Olight isn't the Apple of the flashlight world will have a hard time defending this one. Essentially, the Pro version of the Baton 3 is sized the same as the older S2R Baton, and the Pro Max is the bigger 21700 version with a couple extra features. This particular limited edition variant here has the warm white emitter, which is a huge upgrade in my opinion over some of the nasty greenish cool white emitters used in my other Olights. It's still a bit greenish and it is low CRI, at least as far as I can tell, but the 3000K color temp makes this far more pleasant to use for me. This light is still available in cool and neutral emitters for those who happen to want that. Sadly, this decision to offer warm white was awesome, but was also undermined by the decision to make it a limited edition, which I'm really disappointed by. Granted, this light won't be as popular, so I guess it does make sense. It's probably about as many as they're going to sell anyway. Cool white does tend to sell much better. Anyway, I did not like the S2R Baton 2 very much, and in my opinion this is genuinely a huge improvement over that light. The button is far clickier and easier to operate, the performance is very solid, and the form factor is really excellent. It's lightweight and fits well in the hand and pocket, while being large enough to pack some great battery capacity. I still dislike the locked bezel-up clip here, however. This light has a really clever implementation of the proximity sensor, which decreases the output on turbo when the front of the light detects an object obscuring the lens. This prevents fires, and to some degree, the user from being blinded. I have been carrying the Warrior Mini 2 for a couple years, and I really love this feature. It's extremely convenient and makes the light totally worry-free, which I can't really say about a lot of the hot rods that I enjoy using. This newer proximity sensor manifests as a thin ring around the optic rather than the large intrusion used in older lights, and this newer light also fades in and out as the output changes, which is a really neat, really nice little improvement. That said, this light still has a few major flaws that do prevent an easy recommendation for me. For one, the battery is customized and thus proprietary. In short, I think that is a terrible decision and is enough for me to point enthusiasts completely away. Yeah, this doesn't bother some people, and I understand why it really won't matter to most, but it still just sucks. If you need to replace a battery, that will cost you an absurd $26 from Olight, and only they will have the replacements. This Baton also lacks a proper lens to protect its TIR optic, which it really ought to have at this price. The light does, however, have an excellent clean beam pattern with no color shift and a balanced hotspot that makes it great for most usage at close to medium range. Strangely, the bezel has a completely useless label that states the emitter is 70 CRI and then has 3 different CCTs, so that's kind of odd. Finally, one issue I have with both of these lights is the terrible implementation of lockout mode, which remains the same poor system Olight has had for a while of hold for lockout. This makes the lockout slow and inconvenient to use, while simultaneously being way too easy to activate and remove accidentally, thus defeating its purpose. So yeah, Olight, please change the lockout to a standard 4-click system. That's just so much better. It also really annoys me that the lights will drop down to high after using turbo, rather than the last used mode. I would much rather step back to whatever mode I was using last, but this is kind of a subjective thing. So then, what do I think of these lights? Well, again, the Arkfeld is neat. It's a very well-performing light with great build quality and unique feature set that will appeal to many, but its integrated battery is an issue. The Baton 3 Pro Max is actually a very good flashlight, with its only major flaw being the battery situation. Otherwise, at $90, it offers a really solid value and is pretty easy to recommend to someone wanting an efficient, high-performance light for work and/or general use, and it's still plenty small enough to EDC. That said, I ultimately still prefer the Warrior Mini 2 for my EDC use. It has a fantastic balance of size, performance, reliability, feature set, and price. This light has really grown on me over time, and has become my most carried at this point. You can click here to see my review. Alternatively, for a more detailed look at the Arkfeld and a couple other really cool Olights, you can watch my review here over on the Lumencraft channel.